Good day everyone, this is Leia, one of the Group 8, and today we're going to tackle about Murray Print model for curriculum development. Before we start to report about this kind of curriculum development, let's have first a brief introduction regarding Murray Print. So he is an author, and on 2011 to 2015 he was being a lead writer and a team leader. Also, he is part of the Australian Curriculum Civics and Citizenship. On 2003, he received a centenary medal for the contribution that he do have on the Australian government. So also he have been appointed to the College of Experts for the European Science Foundation, and one of his books was the Curriculum Development and Design. And now we will go to Murray Print model for curriculum development. So the first phase of this model recognizes the curriculum workers on how they affect the development of the curriculum, on what is the reason why they are involved in this curriculum development. So the second phase was the developing the curriculum. So it begins with a situational analysis, and it continues with the aims and the goals of the goals, the objectives, the content, the learning activities, instructional evaluation, and continuing to situational analysis again. So curriculum development is a continuous process, so it doesn't stop. So all throughout the year there is a changes that makes them to develop more the curriculum. And the third phase of this model includes application, and how do they apply the major activities. So the first one, it includes the implementation of the curriculum, on how we do implement it. And the second one was monitoring and the feedback of the curriculum. So it applies, so it includes application. When doing development curriculum, it should have a feedback, and it doesn't stop there, so we need to have to monitor it. And lastly, provision feedback data to the prestige group. So this kind of model is a prescriptive and rational as well, and it is identifying some objectives, the goals and aims of the curriculum. And it is also embraces the principles of cyclical and dynamic models, and its procedures as well. So cyclical and dynamic models, it can be tackled on by the next reporters, and it recognizes the important role and influence of various curriculum workers involved in different curriculum activities. So curriculum workers, they are just not part of this curriculum development. They also have a contribution, and they affect the curriculum development, because they have some part, or they do have the roles for the certain curriculum activities. And also it recognizes the merit curriculum. And so the while the modes being unique, it is because of the instructional evaluation in the development process. And evaluation provides necessary data. So evaluation, by the evaluation, we can check if there is a development on the students. And also this model can be used any level of curriculum development. And as for Murray Print model, it is very practical, or it is very fit this kind of model to the Philippines, for the School of the Philippines, for the curriculum of the Philippines. And also mode was the one who is describing the process of the curriculum development. And this model also um, giving us an impression that there is no direct effect or relationship with situational analysis. Also, this kind of model philosophy is very important at it, or it has a it is very influential in curriculum process, and curriculum presage is part of situational analysis.
Hi, good everyone. Welcome to another fun learning experience. You know what, guys? I'm so excited to be reporting my topic today because I know that all of you will gonna learn something important from it. So earlier, you have watched my partner's report about this topic, and I know that now you all had already a few background about what is a Muriprint model for curriculum development is. So now my task is to discuss to all of you how this Muriprint model for curriculum development works. Okay? So I know you're all ready to listen, so let me start my discussion. We all know that Muriprint model is described as a sequential and logical approach to curriculum development. So to provide a useful and easy to understand process to developing curriculum. So take a look at this model. To further understand this model, ask yourself how this Muriprint model for curriculum development works. This model revolves around the structure with the following phases and following processes. It revolves around three phases in particular. The phase 1, the organization, which it recognizes the nature of the curriculum worker involved in the development of the curriculum. The phase 2, which is development, is the task of developing the curriculum. The procedure is cyclical. And the phase 3, application, which includes the actual application. So dear listeners, take a look at this model. So since print model is prescriptive and rational, the model starts with identifying the aims, goals, and objectives. But in this phase 2, be reminded that, like I said earlier, the principles is cyclical and also it is dynamic. So, in regards with the question that we heard earlier about how this Muriprint model for curriculum development works, well, here's our answer. And please take note all of this, okay? So, from aims, goals, and objectives, or the general and relatively specific statement of curriculum intent, it will be followed by working on content. So when we say content, it is the subject matter of teaching learning process that includes knowledge, processes, and values. Then after content, it will be followed by learning activities which enable learners to acquire designated content. So after learning activities, it will be followed by instructional evaluation which make this development process unique. So please be reminded of this. It is very important that we will be having our instructional evaluation. It is because the result of the evaluation will be used to examine whether the curriculum is applicable to the students or not. And then, after that, it will undergo situational analysis, wherein it is a process of examining educational context from which a curriculum is to be developed and application of that analysis to curriculum planning. So I know you, my dear listeners, are quite wondering why the process here in phase 2 goes back again and again. But I want to remind all of you that in this phase 2, which is development, the process is cyclical and it is dynamic. So, as you can see here in this model, after the cycle and examining the content, it could proceed directly for implementation and modification. So, as we're all future teachers and a future curriculum implementer, it should be instilled in our mind how important to modify curriculum for the best learnings of our student. But this will happen after we undergo monitoring and feedback system. So if there's a call for revisions, we could easily make it through the use of feedback and curriculum evaluation. Also, please put in mind that in the sprint model, curriculum presage is important because after the evaluation, the important role and influence of curriculum workers will be recognized. So thus, it is a reminder that curriculum presage should create a stronger link to the situational analysis because the various curriculum workers are also part of the context or the curriculum. So that's the end of my discussion about how Murray-Print model for curriculum development works. So I hope you learned something. Thank you for listening.
We are going to talk about the Gallen, Saylor, and William Alexander curriculum model. But before that, I'm going to introduce myself to you. I'm Lara Jen Torres, major in English at Western Philippines University. Gallen, Saylor, and William Alexander curriculum model. A plan for providing sets of learning opportunities to achieve broad educational goals and related specific objectives for an identifiable population served by a single school center. And according to Saylor and Alexander, is composed of 4 steps of the model. Number 1 is identification of goals, objectives, and domains. So, the curriculum planners begin by specifying major educational goals and specific objectives they wish to accomplish. And each major goal represents a curriculum domain. Now, let's proceed to the basis external variables on the figure 4 according to Saylor and Alexander. Okay, everyone, please pay attention because the external variables, those are the goals, objectives, and domains. Now, they have curriculum plan and it includes curriculum designing, curriculum implementation, yung instruction, and curriculum evaluation. Pagdating doon sa designing, ang designs ay made by the responsible curriculum planning groups for a particular school center. Pagdating naman sa instruction, it includes instructional modes made by the responsible teachers. And last dun sa evaluation, decisions as to evaluate procedures for determining learner progress made by the responsible teachers. The second one is curriculum designing. So, nasabi ko na siya, but let's talk more about it. It follows after appropriate learning opportunities and are determined and how each opportunity is provided. So, questions to be answered. Will the curriculum design along the lines of academic disciplines or according to the student needs and interests or along themes? So, yun yung mga commonly questions when it comes to curriculum designing. Pagdating naman sa implementation, we have design curriculum, instructional plan, instructional objectives, and appropriate teaching methods and teaching strategies. Kasi kapag wala ka nun, how will you explain your lessons to your students? And the last one is desired learning outcomes. Now, the last one is the evaluation, yung pang-apat. Itong evaluation should involve the following. Yung letter A ay ang total educational program of the school. Pangalawa yung the curriculum plan. The curriculum plan, effectiveness of instruction, and achievement of students. So, through this, the goals of the school and objectives of instruction can be determined to have objectives of instruction can be determined to have been met or not. So, thank you so much for listening in my discussion. I hope you learned something from me.
Cyclical models of curriculum development. The cyclical models prescribe a cyclical or continuous of curriculum development. It is the guidelines of directional process without forming interruptions. Audrey Nichols and Howard Nichols model for curriculum development. Cyclical models usually start with situational analysis that serves as the basis for all the succeeding process. Situational analysis. Curriculum workers will be able to collect data and the needed information from various curriculum sources and influences that are prerequisites in formulating curriculum goals and objectives. Example, Western Philippines University conducts situational analysis before implementing the goals and the uses of relevant instructions. Evaluation. The approach of evaluation has predetermined the appropriateness of implementing the curriculum. It is also enables the adjustment curriculum implementers what necessary and unnecessary implementation in curriculum. The evaluation also addresses some problems in setting the curricula. Selection and organization of methods. The discipline is very useful in selecting syllabus, prospectus, and guidelines in developing the curriculum. Different approaches have set a scale of different contributing discipline. This base is a school-based or national level that help curriculum developers using an instructed directional standard curriculum. Selection and organization of content. The selected content is a continuous, innovative selection educational development. An educational setting applied and use selected content and may apply changes when needed. Selection of objectives. The selected objectives are goals that set by the state of curriculum developers. While in the higher education, the teachers may not apply the model because of too long and slow for conducting situational analysis. Therefore, it will apply a continuous development.
Wheeler's curriculum development. So this cycle model asserts that curriculum should be a continuous cycle which is responsive to changes in education sector. And this also makes appropriate adjustment to account for these changes. This model is presented in which each element of the curriculum is related and interdependent to each other. So this Wheeler's model of curriculum development comprised of 5 interconnected stages, and these are aims, goal, and objectives. Second, we have selection of learning experiences. Third, we have selection of content. Fourth, we have organization and integration of learning experiences and content. And last one, we have evaluation. Let's proceed to the contextual filters model of course planning. So Mr. Stark, Luther, Bentley, Ryan, Martins, Genthon, Warren, and Shaw developed this course planning in 1990 as part of their study, and it was conducted at University of Michigan National Center for Research. This model presents a cyclical view of curriculum development after making course decision. It describes the reality of how college faculty members design their courses, and also this model is based on research conducted by the proponent on how faculty members in several higher educations in the United States plan their curriculum.